Craig's Sports. Ooh, we're lagging pretty bad there. Hello, everyone. Welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the CFL DFS week number 6 pick video, live stream for obviously week number 6 of this CFL. So in this video, we're going through my cheat. Like I said, the last couple weeks, haven't really gotten a chance to do some notes. Reason, probably just going to try to restart this, honestly, maybe. So I do apologize. We're lagging really badly here at the beginning of this stream. So I do apologize for that for anybody that is listening, that is watching. If you're watching on replay, hopefully I do have that cut out by that point in time. But what I'm going to say, I'm going to go through the week 6 sheet, not really notes or anything else like that. But I did go through, I got all that listed in the CFL stats through week number 5. I listed some averages in there too. That's something that I did add to the tab this week. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out over on patreon.com/Coach Craig Sports. And then I'm going to be going over to DraftKings, talking a little bit of, ownership this week. Obviously, we don't have too many good models there, but kind of I'll be overweight or underweight to field, some guys that I'll be stacking together and everything else like that. But what we'll be starting with this sheet. So we're going to start off with that first game, which is the Tiger Cats and the Elks. So at this point in time, we got Tiger Cats here, so go through real quick. Bo Levi Mitchell still on IR. Matthew Schlitz still the quarterback. Does have a decent amount of upside in terms of passing yards. Hasn't really thrown for too many touchdowns or anything like that, but at $8,600, do consider him a decent GPP option this week, especially against Edmonton, who's not been too great this year. They're missing a lot of guys on defense this week, so could be a pretty good matchup for him overall. James Butler, running back, same type of situation, strong GPP play, maybe even a potential cash game option at $9,300 versus a poor Edmonton defense that is missing some key players as well. Then, we'll get down to the wide receivers. So I think the biggest one here is going to be Duke Williams at $7,500 GPP option. Not anybody that you really have to play in cash or anything else like that, but still going to be a strong GPP option. Potentially Richie Sinadini down here, who had a pretty strong week last week, as a potential paydown option. Got it kind of listed as a question mark at this point in time. And then, Tim White's still around. He had the one big week earlier this year, but hasn't really done quite as much as of late. Then we're going to get down to that Tiger Cats defense. They haven't been like the greatest so far this year, but going against Edmonton could be a favorable matchup for them. So I do have them listed as a cash game play. Reasonable price tag, a good matchup. So do like them quite a bit overall. Then on the outside of the game, we got Taylor Cornelius getting the start once again. I do believe at quarterback at $9,100. Not really too interested in him at this point in time, so not much that we're going to talk about there. Kevin Brown really hasn't shown too much upside at running back, so going to avoid him as well. Still got Tanner Green. We still got Eugene Lewis on IR. And then, wide receiver wise, not interested in Dylan Mitchell. He's way too expensive for the production that he's put up. Stephen Dunbar Jr., $5,700, still a viable GPP option. Has pretty good chemistry with Cornelius so far this season. If you're looking for paydown options, we got Kyron Moore here at $2,500 and Maurice French at $2,900. Maybe even a potential cash game fill for French, although he had the targets last week but only caught one reception, so that was a little bit unfortunate there. He's a guy that was quite a bit over the field on last week. And if you really want to take a shot on that Elks defense, they're pretty banged up. Add that to more of a contrarian play at this point in time. They are cheap at $3,600 going against the Tiger Cats that have had some turnover problems at times this year. Then we get down to Toronto. We got Chad Kelly. I got him as a GPP option for $10,100. Has a decent amount of upside. A lot of people consider him one of the better quarterbacks in the CFL. Although for DFS purposes, hasn't quite been that at this point in time, but still a solid play. AJ Alouette as a GPP option at $8,900 as well. Has some pretty decent upside as well. Then we're going to move down to kind of the wide receiver position, which, if you want to play Curley Gittens Jr., or Gittens Jr. at $9,500 as kind of a contrarian option, you can do that. Don't think too many people will be chasing him at his current price tag. But, mainly going to go to Brissett here at $3,000 as kind of a paydown option. We'll look at Cam Phillips a little bit at $5,600. Did miss the first day of practice, was back in full yesterday, though. Daniels is way too expensive at $7,000, although he did score a touchdown last week. And then these other guys, just not too interested in that at this point in time. The defense going against the Alouettes, not really too interested in them this week, going against Cody Fajardo and company. And then speaking of Cody Fajardo, he is $9,500. Still consider him a cash game play this week. He's a pretty consistent quarterback, running the ball a little bit more. So do like that upside. He does present one of the safer quarterbacks overall. Once again, at running back, not too interested in William Stanback. Walter Fletcher will obviously monitor that injury status. He did miss last week. If he plays, he could be an interesting pay down option potentially, but not too interested in him otherwise. We got Austin Mack at $8,000. GPP option, consider him a possible cash game option once again. He just has solid volume. He's the top wide receiver for them once again. And then we have Julian Grant behind him as kind of a GPP option. And then we had the two guys last week. So we had Tyler Snead and Courtney Davis, both active for the first time all year. Both of them were pretty productive. So could both be in play this week. A GPP option for Snead, who's at $5,200, and potential paydown option, Courtney Davis at $2,500. And then I did list the Alouettes defense. They're a little bit hit or miss as a GPP option, maybe a little bit more of a contrarian option against Toronto. Chad Kelly has had a couple turnovers here and there at times, so there is opportunities to be had there, but still a little bit risky at that point in time. Going down to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, we got Zach Collaros at $11,000, GPP option. Some pretty strong upside once again, but he is one of the most expensive quarterbacks. He actually is the most expensive quarterback on the slate overall. Brady Oliveira, running back $9,400, has decent upside, but when you got him, James Butler, Dedrick Mills, kind of all in that same price range, he's going to be the last one that I'm really going to out of that group. And then we had Greg McCray, who actually played really well last week, was one of the top individual scorers, a GPP option. Was a really good paydown option last week if you played him. He was somebody that I did mention. But he's kind of playing this little bit of hybrid role where he's kind of a running back, kick returner, and a little bit of a slot back. So he could be pretty interesting once again this week. Then, they're using a lot of these wide receivers still, so not too much to say about that. Rashid Bailey and Drew Wolter-Rizitsky would be the two that I'd be most interested in just because they're more medium price range than opposed to like Nick Dominski and Dalton Shane. Jerian Grant, the kick returner for them at $3,400. He's dealing with an ankle injury. He did not end up practicing on Tuesday. And then, their defense, if you want to roll them out versus the Red Blacks, is a GPP option. I think it's a pretty strong option there, maybe even a potential cash game option if you want to go that direction. Then for the Ottawa Red Blacks, we had like a lot of news at quarterback. So Tyree Adams is on IR. He's done for the season with his ACL injury. And then Jeremiah Masoli made his return last week and unfortunately got hurt, and he's done for the season with an Achilles injury. So Dustin Crum will get the start this week. GPP options showed some pretty good rushing upside last time out, or in that game that he had to fill in for. Could be a pretty interesting play there, maybe even a potential cash game play if you want to go that direction. And then behind him, they got Nick Arbuckle, who started like the first game and a half of the season, was not very good at all. And then they did bring in Jake Dunaway, who was with the team a little bit during the preseason. And then Tyrell Pergromi is also signed. So those kind of their depth at quarterback at this point in time. Then we're going to move down to running back Devontae Williams. Monitor his injury stats. He did practice in full, I believe, yesterday on Tuesday. So we'll see what that looks like moving forward. It was a healthy scratch last week. Demondre Tuggle still looking like that lead running back at $7,800. Could be a GPP option there. We got Anthony Gosselin, the fullback, still on IR. And then when we get down to the wide receivers, really the only guys I'm interested in are the two guys that did kind of have some injury notes as of yesterday. So we got Justin Hardy at $7,200. GPP option limited on Tuesday due to a back injury, but should be good to go this week. And then Sayasui Mariner at $2,500, potential paydown option, but did not end up practicing yesterday. Was not injury related though. So that's kind of where I'm at in terms of their wide receivers. Nobody else really stands out at this point in time. And then not really interested in the Red Blacks defense against Blue Bombers. Seems like a very less than favorable option and less than favorable matchup there. If you really want to do as a contrarian option, you could do that. Jake Meyer, he's $8,900. If you want to roll him out in GPPs, you can do it. The upside really hasn't been there as late, hasn't played the best as of late. So probably not somebody I'm getting to more often than not. Dedrick Mills at $9,500 at running back, going to be a guy that I'm extremely overweight to on the field. Once again, like I said in the past, did like him a lot coming out of Nebraska at this point in time. So I'm going to give this a minute to come back here. Let's see. Looks like we're back now. So I do apologize for that. The internet's really laggy today for whatever reason. Another running back behind him, so that could be something of interest, but not really getting there myself personally. In terms of the wide receivers for the Calgary team, we have Reggie Begelton and Trey Odoms-Dukes, kind of the two main guys there, GPP options. Odoms-Dukes might be a guy that I think goes a little bit underowned, but should definitely warrant some ownership. Luther Haka, I don't even remember how to pronounce his last name. He was practicing in full on Tuesday, so it looks like he should be back this week. And then besides that, we got Marco Michael, who draw a decent target share last week as kind of a pay down option. Monitoring the injury status once again on Cole Tucker. So we'll see how this all shakes out. Calgary's defense, going against the Rough Riders, kind of middle of the pack defense. If you want to get there this week, you can definitely get there, and hopefully it pays off for you. And then we get down to the Rough Riders. We got Trevor Harris as a GPP option. He's $10,800. Really haven't seen too much upside out of him besides the one big week. So, do you want to pay that price tag? Personally, I don't, but still can warrant some consideration for him overall. Jamal Morrow at running back, still have a decent amount of interest in him at $8,800. Has a pretty solid role on this team. Once again, if they're out there, if they're running the ball, he's going to look pretty good. And then we get down to wide receiver. We got Sean Bain Jr. Once again, GPP option. We got Samuel Emlis as a GPP option. We got Tevin Jones as a GPP option at $7,300, excuse me. Potential cash game option even at that too as well. And then that Rough Riders defense, $4,200. Got them listed as GPP option there. A potential cash game option too, as they are going against the Calgary Stampeders. And like we were talking about with Jake Mayer, hasn't been the greatest so far. So decent amount of downside there for them. So could get to that Rough Riders defense if you want to do that this week. If you don't, you don't. That's kind of where we're at. But that's just in terms of the sheet for week number 6. We're going to get over to DraftKings, talk a little bit over there. Hopefully we stop lagging a little bit here since it's been so bad today. But we're going to get all this brought up at this point in time and kind of talk through everything. So a quarterback, if this ever loads, kind of unfortunate today that everything is moving so slowly, but do apologize for that. Obviously, like I said, all this information is up on the Patreon page, patreon.com/CoachCraigSport. For the week 6 sheet, I'll be updating as the week moves along. And then obviously the stat sheet as well. So that will be up on patreon.com later today. But in terms of quarterback, probably be in line with the field on Collaros, probably underweight to the field on Trevor Harris, probably in line with the field on Chad Kelly, over the field on Cody Fajardo once again. Taylor Cornelius knocking into Jake Mayer, maybe a share or two here, but not anybody I'm super going out of my way for this week. Dustin Crum probably in line with the field. Matthew Schlitz probably in line with the field. That's kind of where I'm at the quarterback position. Obviously, like I said, if I'm playing Collaros, I'm probably stacking with like Rasheed Bailey, maybe some Drew Walter-Zinski there. Maybe I believe that's Greg McCray there too as well. Could be wrong on that one. Cody Fajardo, once again, with Austin Mack, with Julian Grant, pretty much. Dustin Crum, if I'm playing him, it's going to get pretty interesting. Same thing with Schlitz, but going to be creative this week. I think it's a good week to be creative overall. A lot of similar price tags. Going to have a lot of Dedrick Mills overweight to the field on him. Probably underweight to the field on Brady Oliveira this week. In that price range, he just doesn't really stand out like all these other 4 high-end running backs. I'd rather play over him. James Butler probably be overweight to the field. Ajo Allett, maybe a little bit overweight to the field. Jamal Morrow probably in line with the field. Underweight to the field on standback, probably like a couple shares of DeMondre Tuggle here and there. No shares of Kevin Brown for me this week personally. Probably a share or two here of Greg McCray. Maybe even a share or two with Tyreek McAllister, who did have that long touchdown run last week. Maybe gets a little bit more involved. We'll have to see how that looks overall. But that's mainly where I'm at from the running back position, unless anything like majorly changes throughout the week injury wise. Not getting a Dalton Shane this week. I'll be way underweight to the field on him, probably underweight to the field on Tim White once again, maybe a share or two here and there. Dominski, I might have a share or two of. It just kind of depends on how my lineups all shake out. Curly Gittin Jr., probably not getting into this week. Julian Grant, I'll have a couple shares here and there with Cody Fajardo. I have a couple shares of Reggie Bigleton, probably in line with the field. Ackland underweight to the field. Austin Mack overweight to the field once again. Duke Williams probably end up being overweight to the field on this week. I think it should be a pretty solid week for him. Once again, he's been their most solid performing wide receiver. Bain, I'll have a couple shares of here and there. Walter Ziski, probably a couple shares here and there, mainly stacking with Zach Collaros this week. No Dylan Mitchell. Have a couple of shares of Stephen Dunbar here and there, probably just as a one-off. Cam Phillips, a little bit here and there with Chad Kelly. MLS have a little bit here and there. Maybe if I play Trevor Harris, which probably isn't going to be too much this week. Trey Dukes Odom will have a decent amount of him this week. Do like him quite a bit, even if I don't play Jake Meyer in that matchup. Tyler Snead, maybe mix a match here and there, especially with Cody Fajardo. Rasheed Bailey, if I'm playing Colares, I'll get a little bit of him. Let's see. Not really getting into too much else here as we're moving down. Sedini might get a little bit with the Tiger Cat stack there. If I go that direction, maybe a little bit of Brissett, and for French, I'll probably be overweight to the field on once again this week. Hopefully that ends up working out once again. And then, Kyron Moore, I'll have a couple shares of here and there, a couple shares of Courtney Davis, but that's pretty much where we're at in terms of everything. Mariner, if he ultimately ends up playing this week, I'll have a decent amount of shares with him. Hopefully that works out once again this week. Didn't really work out too much last week. Defense wise, mainly getting the Blue Bombers, getting a little bit of Rough Riders here and there, a little bit of Tiger, or probably overweight to the field on the Tiger Cats, overweight to the field on the Blue Bombers, Rough Riders here and there. Alouettes, a couple shares here and there. Ottawa not getting to. Calgary maybe here and there occasionally, and then Edmonton probably not getting to this week overall. So that's just kind of a quick overview of where I'm at for week number 6. If you guys have any specific questions related to CFL DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Once again, check out the Patreon page at patreon.com/CoachCraigSports. Once again, I would like to apologize for all the lagging and everything else like that. I'll try to see if I can go back and cut some of that out so it's more enjoyable for those of you that are watching it on replay. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, and you enjoy the content that I am putting out, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now we have MLB DFS, although it is the All-Star break, so I haven't had that quite in a little while. I'll be back on Friday for that. And then we have the CFL DFS going on at this point in time. But with that being said, if you... excuse me, but with that being said, definitely do appreciate everyone checking this video out, checking this live stream out, whether you're watching live or on replay. Definitely means a lot to me. Hopefully each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in it CFL DFS this weekend.